Welcome to Haunted Minute, the channel of scary stories where shadows come alive and fear whispers in the dark. Tonight, get ready to dive into the Whisper in the Walls, a chilling tale that'll make you question every creak in your house. Turn off the lights, lock the doors, and stay alert, because what's behind the walls might be listening to you right now. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a rundown city down south in the United States, where old houses hunker like cranky widows under twisted oak trees, there was a man named Harlan. He was 35, with calloused hands from years fixing pipes in stinking sewers, and a lonely life that led him to buy an abandoned mansion for a steal. The house, known locally as the Whispering Widow, loomed at the end of a dead-end street, with cracked brick walls that seemed to ooze moss and windows that stared like empty eyes. Harlan didn't believe in curses. He grew up in a rusty trailer in Louisiana, where ghost stories were swapped over cheap whiskey and rough laughs. But on his first night in the new place, when the wind howled like a hungry wolf through the cracks, something woke him. A low whisper from the bedroom walls, like someone breathing right in his ear. The sound started fuzzy, just a mumble like dry leaves scraping the floor. Harlan sat up in the creaky bed, flicking on the bedside lamp that flickered like a dying star. He scanned the room with his eyes, seeing only shadows dancing on the tattered curtains. But the whisper kept going, now piecing into broken words. Come back. ... home. ... Harlan. He chuckled nervously, chalking it up to moving fatigue and wind echoing through the gaps. He got up, grabbed a heavy flashlight, and checked the walls, tapping the peeling plaster with his knuckles. Nothing but dust and spider webs. But when he leaned in to listen closer, the whisper shifted tone, turning into a low moan that bounced from every side. You brought us back. Now, stay. The next morning, Harlan called his old buddy Tommy, a boozy contractor who knew all the dirt on old houses. Tommy showed up with a box of rusty tools and a bottle of bourbon, laughing off Harlan's gripes about voices in the wall. They spent the day prying off fake panels and poking the attic, finding only dead rats and moldy insulation. But as the sun dipped low, Tommy froze, his face pale as sour milk. I heard it. Man, Tommy muttered, wiping sweat from his brow with a dirty sleeve. Ain't the wind. It's like the house is. Talking to us? Harlan shook his head, offering a beer to steady the nerves. But that night alone, the whisper came back clearer. Now, from the kitchen. Remember the girl... in the river. Harlan! She still screams. Harlan froze in the living room, his whiskey glass shaking in his hand. Years back, on a rainy night, in his wild youth, he'd let his girlfriend Ellie slip into the Mississippi during a drunken phaeton accident. He always told himself. But her body was never found. The whisper chuckled low, a wet, gurgling sound like water clogging a drain. You pushed her... And we saw. Now, she wants you here. He stayed up all night, drinking till dawn, and the next day he hired a crew to redo every wall in the place. The workers came and went, hammering and sawing, uncovering layers of yellowed wallpaper with drawings of rivers and shadowy figures. But as the walls got ripped open, the whispers multiplied, no longer stuck to one room, but echoing through the whole house like a choir of drowned souls. One of the workers, an old lady named May, stopped dead during lunch. Her eyes glazed like she was in a trance. This house eats people, she said quietly, tossing her sandwich on the floor. My grandma worked here in the 50 segundos, said the last owner went mad hearing the voices of his victims in the walls. Harlan sent her packing, calling her superstitious. But that afternoon, while nailing up a new panel, he found something buried in the insulation. A silver necklace, stained with reddish rust, engraved with Ellie on the pendant. Panic hit him like a flood. He bolted to the basement, where the walls were thicker and damper, reeking of rot and buried secrets. Down there, the whispers were deafening, a whirlwind of overlapping voices. Drowned... Traitor... Join us... A jet bag, demanding quiet, but the walls shook in reply, dust falling like filthy snow. Desperate, Harlan called Tommy again, but the guy didn't pick up, turns out later. Tommy had drowned in his own bathtub with a scrawled note, "The voices called me home." Harlan barricaded the doors and windows, chugging the last of the bottle while the whispers turned to laughs, bouncing from every crack and split. Days melted into a fog of no sleep and madness. Harlan clawed at the walls with his nails, trying to shut them up, but the more he dug, the more voices spilled out, not just Elias, but others, victims of past owners who'd hidden crimes between the bricks. One night, bone tired, he leaned against the bedroom wall and felt something shift under the plaster, like cold fingers pushing from inside out. He didn't fight when the wall gave way, splitting open like a starving mouth. The voices dragged him in, a swirl of wet darkness and endless whispers. When the neighbors finally busted down the door weeks later, the house was empty, except for fresh scratches on the walls, spelling a message. Harlan's home now. Who's next? And the walls, still whispering soft, waited for the next fool tenant. T.N. T.N. And that's the end of the Whisper in the Walls, leaving a chill that won't fade with the sunrise. If this story made you tap your walls or left your heart racing, smash that like button to spread the terror, subscribe to the channel for more spine-tingling tales every week, and hit the bell so you don't miss any creeping shadows. In the comments, spill it. What's your biggest fear about old houses? Thanks for watching Sleep with the Lights On. Or don't. See you next time, and watch what you hear.